Hey everyone, it's been a while again, but I got kind of an interesting email the other day I wanted to talk about. Um, I recently reached 500,000 views on my channel. Not nearly as exciting as, 500,000 subscribers. I think I have maybe 4,300 subscribers, and most of those don't watch anything I post on here anyway. But still, over 10 years, I have accumulated 500,000 eyeballs that have gazed upon the videos I have chosen to put up on this channel, and that's not exactly nothing. It's kind of cool. So yeah, it's weird to think about that. I have been on this YouTube channel for I guess 10 years since I switched it over to chronic illness videos. Before that, and something that probably nobody remembers at all, I used to do tech review videos. I can't even remember what I called the channel before I made the switch to chronic illness videos. And then I saw this kid named Marquez Brownlee doing reviews, tech reviews, and I went, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't need to be doing this." He's just like the best. So there was just in my mind no point in me trying that as well. So yeah, it was kind of a realization there. But yeah, around in 2014, I started making chronic illness videos because primarily of Karina's Crohn's disease and the question she would get of, "Hey, how you doing? Are you better yet?" So yeah, so we figured, hey, I'll do a video about that. And then I got to thinking, well, um, there must be other people who have questions about their chronic illnesses, that aren't Crohn's. So I decided I'd keep going in that theme. Um, the most uh, proud I've been of a video, there's two of them. The first one was one called The Slow Death of Compassion for the Chronically Ill. It's a 30-minute talk. It's a recording of a live talk I gave at a hotel here in Reno that I don't think exists anymore. But I was really proud of it because I memorized the whole thing. I didn't actually have like notes, didn't have any kind of teleprompter or anything. I actually memorized the entire talk. And so I was pretty proud of that. And then I gave another talk in October of 2016, a couple of years later, at a thing called Rally Against Pain in Washington, D.C.
Peter Ingravalo had sustained shrapnel wounds during his deployment, and after returning to the United States, began taking 25 milligrams of oxycodone every 4 hours to manage his chronic pain per the instructions of his doctors. He did this for many years without any problems, until one day he went to his mailbox and he found a letter. And that letter said in no uncertain terms that they would effective immediately decrease all of his medications by 70%. That's 70%. There was no explanation given for this. There was no outline in the letter as to how he should wean himself off his current level of medications. There were no alternative therapies suggested. What was contained in the letter was a threat that said if he attempted to get his pain medication from any other source, that he would immediately lose his VA benefits.
And again, had that completely memorized, and that was a lot of fun too, to get to fly out there and meet some other chronic illness activists at the time, and it was just good. It was a good experience overall. So yeah, those of you who may have just stumbled on this channel, it used to be called Don't Punish Pain. Hello, and welcome to Feel This Pain. In this series of videos, I'm going to attempt to convey to you what it's like to experience certain types of chronic pain. And I did chronic illness videos for 2 years. I made about 30, I think, explainer videos about various conditions from Ehlers-Danlos to lupus to all kinds of them. For me to do it properly, I really researched them, and I would contact Facebook groups or other support groups on other social media platforms saying, "Hey, I'm making this video about this condition. I'd like to talk to you about it and get an idea of what it's like to live with it, not just present the symptoms, right? But to really get a feel for what it can feel like to have those conditions. My depression was getting really bad around this time, and yeah, the empathizing that went along with that in my videos, it was just draining me. It was not helping my depressed state of mind. Talking to and meeting all these uh, various people who have these conditions, it wasn't good for me. So I was really reconsidering it anyway, and then it seemed to me that the views I was getting on those videos uh, were largely from people in the chronic illness communities, which is great. But I wanted to make those videos so that I could explain to people who didn't have the conditions what it was like, so that maybe they could actually feel a little more compassion and empathy for people with these illnesses. And I just got to the point where I felt like I'm kind of preaching to the choir. I'm not really reaching the people I wanted to reach with it. So I'm not really changing people's hearts and minds. And so I didn't feel like I was doing much good. And so I rebranded my channel and was trying to just do fun things. So I tried doing, I rebranded it as Casual Coffee with Ken, and I started doing food live streams, cooking, live streams. I was doing videos about cocktails because I knew nothing and still don't know a whole lot about cocktail culture or how to make certain drinks. And that was fun. And most of that, I think, was probably in 2020 when everyone else was also trying their hand at live streaming because what else were you going to do? Um, and it was fun, but the amount of setup it took to do the cooking live streams was just insane. And it was fun for a while, but it got to be way too much. I mean, I'll throw some pictures up on here so you can see. But for me to do that required a lot of cables and a lot of setup and then a lot of tear down because our kitchen is not a TV kitchen, it's a functional kitchen. So I had to use it after doing the live streams for actual eating purposes. So a lot of tear up, a lot of set down, a lot of set down. Oh boy, I'm doing good. A lot of setup, a lot of tear down. And so then I pivoted again and was trying to do kind of a uplifting news thing where I would share happy, encouraging, inspiring stories. So it was still Casual Coffee with Ken, but this time there was no cooking. I was just doing inspiring news stories, hopeful stories, and then some of those videos got flagged by YouTube because I was using screenshots of where I found the stories and I would give credit for them, but that wasn't enough apparently. And so my videos are getting flagged. So that was just even more depressing. So, so yeah, I was feeling pretty down in the dumps about that point. Somewhere during all of this, I got the idea to start a completely new channel focused on reviewing things, but not exclusively tech. I wasn't gonna, like I said before, I wasn't gonna try to take on Marquez Brownlee, but I would do, some gadget reviews of just, stuff, fun stuff that I liked, like earbuds or whatever that I was using, e-readers. But I would also talk about fountain pens. I would also do book reviews. But as much fun as started out having doing that, um, I realized that I was no longer really enjoying reading books, and I have read voraciously my entire life that I can remember. I was reading before I got into kindergarten. So I love reading. And I noticed that as I was reviewing books, I was thinking more about how I was going to review it than actually enjoying the story. So I decided to stop that. I've been thinking a lot about, well, what do I do next? So let's talk about what I'm going to do with this channel going forward, but let's do it while I'm outside walking because I need to go for a stupid walk for my stupid mental health. So I have recently renamed my channel Empathy Matters. which I think gives me a little more flexibility. I don't have to just talk about empathy when it comes to chronic illnesses. I can talk about empathy in general, right? And I feel that discourse is more important now than ever. We don't teach empathy in schools, which is a mistake, I think. And so I want to use this channel now to highlight instances where empathy could make a difference in the world at large. Everyone believes that the bad things that happen in life happen to other people, that it can't happen to them, it could never happen to them. So very few people realize how little it takes for you to suddenly become one of those people that you thought you'd never be. Most of us are 1 or 2 paychecks away from that happening. So one of the things I'd like to do now, instead of just making explainer videos, is to talk more about how empathy is needed. And by calling the channel Empathy Matters, I can talk about it not only in the context of chronic illness, but also just empathy for all aspects of life, from empathy for the homeless, empathy for those who can't make ends meet, working 3 jobs, empathy in general for human beings. So I really do want to just focus on doing videos that highlight instances where greater empathy could do a lot for a lot of people. Just a little empathy could change people's lives. It's important to be able to place ourselves in other people's shoes, right? To better understand where they're coming from and where we could easily be if things were just a little bit different in our lives. So what does it mean for videos on this channel? I want to do something a little different. I don't always want to be doing a talking head thing necessarily, sitting at a desk, reading off a script, teleprompter kind of thing. And I really just want to do what I can to highlight what I perceive are inadequacies in our society when it comes to empathy, when it comes to giving a damn about other people, and to really just put a spotlight on those instances wherever I can, however I can. I would like to do some more stories about people. Helping people share their stories feels like an important thing to do now. As always, I appreciate you being here. My name is Ken. This channel is Empathy Matters because it does. And I will see you soon in the next video. Take care.